If I can travel back in time to 4 years ago, my younger self will be so amazed and surprised at how I can speak English in a YouTube video and publish online right now. I was so nervous speaking a foreign language to native speaker that I told my internship professor at that time, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I was so scared of it. And she was comforting me that maybe we just need to try to work with a population that doesn't speak English as their native language. And now I confidently speak English working with mostly native speakers, and I can even speak in English publicly. But this does not only apply to someone who's overcoming a similar fear. The basic mechanism of how I work towards it and how I become more confident in this area would apply to any area of a life. So this is a video for anyone who wants to be more confident in some area in your life. It can be work, it can be relationship, it can be your hobby. I'm gonna guide you through a series of prompts. I invite you to grab something that you can write on, an iPad, a piece of paper, and we are going to do a real-time interactive session to help you get where you want to be. Let's first define the goal that you have. What do you want to be more confident in? It can be, I want to be more confident at work. It can be, I want to be more confident when I'm dating. It can be, I want to be more confident when I'm working out in the gym. Just pick one broad area that you want to be very confident in. I'm going to do a side-by-side session with myself at the same time. So I will also answer the prompt with you. Now, if you need a second to think about what you want to work on, I suggest you pause the video and just take a time to think about it first. Once you have the answer, you can come back. So the thing I want to work on is I want to get more confidence in doing my sports, performing in jiu-jitsu, and holding a workshop on the mental side of jiu-jitsu. That part of me just don't feel like I qualify to do it. So once you have your broader goal, write it down on a paper. And my first question for you is, what does confidence look like for you specifically? Because we all know that we want to be confident, but what does it look like? How would you behave? Let's just pretend that a miracle is going to happen tonight when you're sleeping. But because you were sleeping, so you didn't know that miracle happened. However, when you woke up next day in the morning, the miracle has already happened and you can kind of feel it in your body. Something shifted, something feels different. So when you open your eyes, what will be the first thing you notice? Would you notice an energy level change? Maybe you feel lighter in your body and you actually feel energized and motivated to get up and do things. Maybe you just realize, well, my room is so clean and tidy. Maybe you can smell the coffee from the kitchen. Trying to really imagine when this miracle happens, what will be the first thing you notice? What will be the first thing you do after you open your eyes? Pause for a second and write it down. And for me, I would say if the miracle happens and I feel so secure in my ability to do jiu-jitsu to compete, I would feel so strong and so good in my body. I'll have this energy. I feel confident. I'm ready for the next competition. And I'll look forward to the training at night. I will have a clear understanding of what are the things I want to work on, any technique, any drills that I want to do. You want to be very specific about what the day would look like, not just some broad idea of I'm going to wake up feeling happy and I will go to work and I'll get everything done. We want to be very detailed in terms of what are the things that you do, you feel, you see. Even you hear, you smell. Use all your senses in that environment. And if you have difficulty doing that, I invite you to close your eyes and really imagine what it would look like, your ideal self, the ideal life that you would have. Another question I have for you is, if I am a person who is very confident in this specific area of my life, when I encounter a setback, I don't get outcome that I want, or I feel imposter syndrome when I'm doing the thing, how would that confident version of yourself react to that situation? For me, if I were to become a very confident jujitsu athlete, when I didn't do as well as I want in a tournament, I will just learn it. I will watch the video trying to learn as a student of this sports, of this art, really trying to be curious about what did I miss? Is there anything that I've learned? And I might even be amazed that my opponents can win by doing some good techniques that I overlooked. And I will truly believe that I did everything I can in a specific tournament. And when I got injured or when I lost a fight, I would tell myself that this is an inevitable part of the process. I'm intentionally traveling to my final goal of being a great jiu-jitsu athlete. And everyone encounters setback. I need to appreciate that I gave myself a chance to try. And if I got upset, I'll recognize, okay, it's totally fine to be upset at this moment. And I will also truly grateful for having this opportunity to compete, for having the wonderful opponent and being able to do the sport, being able to continuously learn. I ask this question because in our life, difficult situation is everywhere. A very common myth that people believe in is if I work really hard towards something, then I should be able to expect some kind of outcome, some kind of payout within a short period of time. And this is just not true. A therapist of mine used to tell me the story. He said, imagining there's an ice cube in the room and there is a dial that you can adjust the temperature of the room. When you first started it, the dial is way below freezing. Maybe it's negative 100 degrees Celsius. And then you dial it up a little bit, and the ice stays a hard, cold ice cube. Then you go to the dial and dial it up a little bit, maybe 1 to 2 degrees. So now it becomes negative 98 degrees Celsius. You look at ice. Okay, it's still gonna be hard ice. You dial it up a bunch, now it becomes minus 78 degrees Celsius. You improve by 20 degrees. The ice is still hard as a rock. You need to keep continuing doing this process of turning it out. Eventually, when it reaches 0 degree, now you see, oh, now it becomes ice and water. So when you feel like you're working towards something and you don't see the results immediately, remind yourself you are turning the dial from negative 100 degrees Celsius to 0 degree. That's going to take a long time until you see the ice starts to melt. And this is just how our life goes. It applies to every aspect. So the way we see a setback is really important when we are trying to build confidence. We want to reframe it into data instead of seeing it as if I'm still not seeing the results, then I will never see the result. This is a distorted cognition. We want to gently guide ourselves to closer to truth. The truth is, most of the time, we are going to take a long time and a lot of effort, way more than you want and way more than you think you're going to need to, until you see the results pay out. So what do? You want to remind yourself there are small wins. These might not be the wins that you want it to be. For example, as a therapist, my direct goal eventually is to get more client. Or as an athlete, my direct goal is to win that gold medal. I might not get that in the short run. However, when I'm working towards it, there are small victories, small progress that we tend to overlook that matters. I might not have 1 million views right now. However, on my video shorts, I got people's interaction. I got people like my video. I got amazing audience that tells me, you made my day. Thank you for sharing these. And it might took them only 10 seconds to write that down. But these are the fuel for me to keep going. I need to remind myself these are the small victory. I am still doing it after several months of not seeing a result that can be immediately translated to something huge. But the fact I'm still doing it, I'm training my patience, I'm training my persistence, I'm getting joy out of it. These are the wins that you should never overlook. So I want to invite you to take a pause and think about what are the small wins that you overlooked in the past 6 months. that's related to this specific area that you want to work on. If you really can't think about any small wins, any victory, then ask yourself, what are some of the mistakes that I wisely avoided making in the last 6 months? There are a lot of science shows that when we are able to write down our victories, the thing that we did well, especially the things that we did despite difficult situation, even though it doesn't translate into anything monetary, anything external, these are the things that help us build confidence and good mental health in the long run. So I really want you to pay attention to those and not overlook the power of them. You deserve to celebrate your small wins. They matter. Some of the small wins I have in terms of my jujitsu is I was able to build a good community. I made great friends in my local jujitsu gym. I lost and I got injured, yes, but I was always able to bounce back from it and constantly trying to learn what can I do better in the next tournament. And I'm trying to apply that not just to jujitsu, but to other areas of my life too. No matter I win a tournament or not, the fact that I'm constantly growing in my own sports, in my own technique, in my own athletic skill is a proof that I am winning and growing. And that is what matters the most. I just need to remind myself that I, like all of you too, need to celebrate these moments of victory more often. I have a supervisor that shared with us, her kid would use their imagination to take a picture of that specific moment when they feel joy, when they feel victory, and mentally store it in their brain's storage box. And when they're feeling bad, they take it out and look at it. And I think that's exactly what we need to do from now on. When you have a good moment, write something down on your journal. It can be just a very simple sentence, or you can take a picture of it. The purpose of it is it serve as a joy box that can prove to yourself that I've been working through things, that I've had these joyful moments, and I should remind myself of it when the difficult situation comes. If when you're looking back, everything you see is the past mistake you made, here's a tool for you too. Let's look at a mistake you made in the past. And let's think about how do we turn mistake into a comedy show, into something humorous? If you see a lot of the comedy show, you will realize these comedians are like therapists. What they do is they turn a very painful and embarrassing moment into something humorous, into something funny. So people no longer feel the seriousness of these situations. So if you are a comedian, how would you write your story into something humorous? And I've had a lot of embarrassing moments, and I'm gonna share this with you too. I've had a lot of embarrassing moment in competition where after I lost, I cried like a kid. I am a 27-year-old married woman who is a therapist herself. And I would just go out and cry after I lose. And I find it embarrassing at a moment, but afterwards when I think about it, when I'm able to embrace it and just like, okay, that is really the child part of me. Look at me at this age, someone who is physically strong, someone who other people perceive as independent, can still cry and just feel so bad of a loss in a hobby. How interesting is that? I think that gives me another perspective to see the things. So I no longer just sinking into my own sorrow, my own frustration. These are the mental preparation we can have for ourselves. And eventually we want our mental preparation turn into a physical, behavioral, actionable process. So here's a last step. If you want to build confidence in a specific area, you have to do things. It's inevitable. If I want to get confidence speaking English, I have to start talking. If I want to be better at jujitsu, I have to start practicing, start competing, even if I'm losing. So how do we make this action process easier when you are so scared of doing something? The trick is using low stake practice. Low stake practice meaning if you mess up, it won't be a big deal. For example, it won't mean a lot if you sit around in front of your boss doing a public presentation. But it really won't matter a lot if you're doing a presentation at home to your spouse. This is like kids who are scared of height climbing up a ladder. If a kid is really scared of climbing a ladder, you're not just gonna force them to go because they're gonna cry, they're gonna resist. So the first thing you're gonna do is maybe you ask them to just touch the ladder. And if a kid can rate how scary it is, it's probably a 10 out of 100. And once the kid is able to do that, then we ask the kid, let's try to just put your first step onto that ladder and your other foot can still be on the ground. That can create a fear of maybe 20 out of 100. Once we're able to do that, okay, put your next foot onto the ladder too. So your entire body is completely on a ladder. That might be 30 out of 100. This is a similar way we work with our fear and we work with the goals in our life. What is the 100% that you want to see? That goes back to the miracle question. What does being confident in that specific area of your life look like? What about 90 out of 100? What about 80 out of 100? What about 70 out of 100? And we going backwards until we can identify the very first step I can make, 10 out of 100. Maybe for someone who's wanting to speak a foreign language confidently, 10 out of 100 would look like just smile at a foreigner in a grocery store. 20 out of 100 may look like saying hi to someone who walked past you in a park. You're going to slowly climb up the ladder, and the lower part of this ladder are all made of low-stake actionable items. You can take a pause here and take your time to paint a ladder in your notebook and write down what is 100 out of 100. What are the things that's corresponding to 10 out of 100, 20 out of 100, so that you can slowly make a ladder yourself and encourage yourself to climb up that ladder. If you have any comments, any thoughts about the exercise that we just did today, please feel free to leave a comment, and I hope to see you in the next video.